So I'm reading about a sexual discrimination lawsuit filed against Goldman Sachs. And apparently the ex-female employees who filed the suit are currently trying to, certify a class and include all current and prior female employees of Goldman Sachs. And of course, Goldman Sachs is denying the allegations and resisting the class. In many ways, it serves Goldman Sachs right, because they support all these liberal politicians that pass all of this nonsense. But the case that is being made is largely based on raw numbers, right? Because Goldman Sachs women constitute 23% of the officers and managers, and 21% of the executives and senior official officers and managers are women. And obviously, half the population are women. So if only 23% of the officials and managers and 36% of all their employees are women. And so therefore they must be discriminated, because look, it should be 50-50, right? Which of course ignores the inherent differences between men and women, and the fact that a lot of the women that start out working at Goldman Sachs, meet guys and get married and then voluntarily leave the workforce, either permanently or temporarily. They come back on a part-time basis, or they work a lot at home. They also point to the pay gap, and they say that female associates earn 8% less than male associates. 8%, that's not even that much. That's a lot less than the so-called gender gap that they're always talking about. And there might be a legitimate reason why those associates are earning 8% less. And again, that's the average number. There are obviously some female associates that are earning the same or maybe more than some male associates. It's just as a group, if you average them up, the average is 8% less. And there's probably a reason for that. And it probably has to do with their other social commitments or responsibilities that are more important to these women than their job at Goldman Sachs. And as you go up the ladder, when you get to vice presidents, the gap widens to 21%. But see, that makes sense to me, because as women get older and are therefore more likely to be promoted to vice president, more of the older women are likely to have married and had children. And so they've interrupted their careers. So maybe by the time they make it to vice president, they're older than their male counterparts, and they don't have as much seniority. They don't have as much experience. And so they don't earn as much money. There are all sorts of demographic factors that come to play. I'm sure it is not Goldman Sachs saying, hey, we just want to pay women less because they're women. We just don't like them. And we're going to discriminate against them. There are going to be reasons. And I'm sure there are some women at Goldman Sachs that are basically married to Goldman Sachs that have no husband and no kids. And they could be full on committed, and they could be superstars. I don't know. There could be some real top women that are earning more than many of the men. It's just that when you average them out, it makes sense. And also, again, in the brokerage industry, it's just a male-dominated industry. Men tend to gravitate towards some of these professions that women don't. There's not as many women. I remember when I worked in at Shearson Lehman, I worked as a broker, and there might have been 70 brokers, 80 brokers in this LA office. At most, two of them were women. At most, if there were even two, there might have only been one, and sometimes there might have been none. And it wasn't because the branch manager just didn't like women and didn't want to hire women. Very few women even applied for the job. And those that did, they didn't like the environment. It was commission only. It was sales. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of it's stuff that a lot of rejection. Women are not used to that kind of rejection. Men are. Men get rejected all the time because they're constantly having to ask out women. And the women say they're not interested. But women don't do that. Women aren't going out and asking out men. Maybe there's women that don't get asked out, but the women are usually the ones doing the rejecting. So when a guy, starts cold calling and people start hanging up in his face and calling him names, he's used to it. because he's used to getting rejected because he's a guy and he's been hitting on women and so it's he can handle it. Not even all guys can handle it, but it's something women just don't. Some women can do it. I've met some women brokers in my career who have succeeded, but there's very few. There's very few, and sometimes when there is a woman, she can succeed because if you're a client and you prefer a female broker, there's not that many to choose from. Right? And I don't know, most men probably might not prefer a female broker, but a lot of women might. They might say, look, I want to deal with another woman, and there's not that many around. So you'd figure they'd have an easier time. But none of it has to do with discrimination. Now, they also kind of allege, well, the guys are going out to strip clubs, and therefore I feel left out because I can't go to the strip clubs too. I mean, who says you can't go to a strip club as a girl? They don't have a sign there that says no women allowed. You want to go to the strip club with some of the guys that are hanging out at strip clubs after work. But how is that Goldman Sachs' fault? If some of their, brokers want to go to a strip club, what, they're supposed to stop them because some of the women might not want to go? What if some of the women want to do women's stuff and the guys don't want to do? What if they want to do something that this is after work. I mean, you can't stop people from socializing with who they want to socialize, or golf. I mean, they say, well, they have too much golf. Well, women can play golf. I mean, they got the women's tees up there. You could go in there and play golf with the men. I mean, don't say, well, it's discrimination because all these guys are playing golf and I feel left out. Learn golf, but that's not the job. But you can't hold the company responsible. What, they're supposed to ban their employees from playing golf after work? Or ban them from going to a bar or a strip club after work? Although I wonder, how much time these Goldman Sachs brokers are spending in these strip clubs. But in a way, again, it's their just desserts because they support all these liberal causes. They make all these donations to the Democrats, and now they're caught in their own noose. They're caught in this ridiculous lawsuit. Hopefully, it'll get thrown out. But I don't know. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be that upset for Goldman Sachs.